Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to take a look at some of the crazy and insane things that He-Man has done over the years. In the 80s, when companies were allowed to create TV shows for the purposes of strictly selling toys, the cartoons that followed were generally cliche, action-packed, and filled with new characters and vehicles you could buy at the store. While some episodes did boast elaborate storylines and resolutions, most of the time the problem could simply be solved with a simple punch from He-Man. And as time went on, it seemed as though there was no limit to He-Man's bizarre solutions to problems. Of course, it's a cartoon, and it's not supposed to be taken literally, but some of these are pretty cray-cray. So here are 9 unbelievable and insane things He-Man did. Number 1. Stopping a comet. In the very first episode of He-Man, the Cosmic Comet, an elderly wizard Zagraz reveals to the gang he once tried to use his powers to control 2 comets, but lost confidence in himself and accidentally destroyed one, leaving the remaining comet lonely and full of rage. Skeletor then takes control of the Cosmic Comet, setting its collision course to destroy He-Man and Castle Grayskull. Zagraz is able to create a second comet, but needs He-Man to buy him some time to get it in the air. So what can He-Man do? Stop the comet in mid-flight, of course! A comet is essentially a large chunk of ice and rock, which can reach speeds of up to 26 and 298 miles a second. That's like going from Los Angeles to Las Vegas in 1 second.
The last time I tried to wrestle a comet.
Number 2. Punching through fire. In issue 4, The Terror Claws Strike, in the 5th series of the Masters of the Universe mini-comics by Mattel, King Randor is supposed to give away the Gem of Life to a farmer to help with their harvest. Skeletor devises a scheme to steal the gem in hopes that he can use it for his own evil purposes and destroy all of Eternia's crops. On the way, Skeletor makes a stop at Spikors to try his new weapon, the Terror Claws. After Skeletor sneakily acquires the gem, He-Man travels to Snake Mountain to battle with Skeletor, who throws up a giant wall of fire to stop He-Man. But fire surely isn't a solid material that can't merely be moved, right? No problem. Punching is the answer to most of He-Man's problems, and he punches his way through that wall of fire to battle Skeletor and return the gem to the palace. Number 3. Nullifying a tornado. In Season 1, Episode 50, Temple of the Sun, a poor peasant discovers the Temple of the Sun and uses its ancient treasure, the Scarab, to become all-powerful, and it's up to He-Man, Battle-Cat, and Man-at-Arms to stop him before his evil spreads. On the way to the temple, He-Man and the gang encounter a tornado, which is powerful enough to lift up a freaked-out Cringer high up into the air. There is a scale known as the Fujita Tornado Damage Scale, ranging in devastation from an F0 to an F5, based on wind speed. Considering the tornado managed to lift up Cringer, I'd say this tornado would classify as an F3, meaning wind speeds of about 160 miles an hour. To deal with this minor inconvenience, He-Man uses his blonde bowl-cut logic and begins to twirl his sword in the opposite direction at an equal to or higher speed than the tornado is spinning at, therefore nullifying the tornado and spooling it up onto his sword like a fork full of spaghetti, then sends it into space. Naturally, where else is he supposed to put it? Just don't try this one at home, kids. Number 4. Making glass from sand. Later in the same episode, Temple of the Sun, the gang is attacked by a giant scorpion. He-Man then pulls another insane move that would make even MacGyver's mouth drop as he treats us all to a science lesson.
What is sand composed of?
Explaining that since sand is a form of silica, and when you heat silica to its melting point, you get glass. So he rubs his hands incredibly fast over the sand, creating so much friction that he reaches the sand's melting point of 1,700 degrees Celsius, or 3,090 Fahrenheit. Creating a giant pane of glass that he uses to make a cage for the scorpion. He-Man, you son of a gun. Number 5. Throwing a gem at 80,000 miles an hour. In the 1987 Marvel Star Comic issue number 10 entitled Courage, Skeletor fools He-Man into retrieving the healing gem from the floating city of Helios. After bringing it to Skeletor, Skeletor reveals that the gem has to be back at Helios by sundown or the city will fall out of the sky. But things get pretty crazy when He-Man decides to throw the gem at exactly 22 miles per second for over 700 miles so that it lands at the exact right spot before sunset. Number 6. Being a human drill. In Season 2, Episode 65, The Cold Zone, Cobra Khan appeals to Prince Adam and the gang that his people, the Reptons, are in great danger due to the eternal flame that kept their civilization warm mysteriously went out, and if the flame is not reignited, the Reptons will succumb to permanent hibernation. After arriving, Cobra Khan testifies to seeing that He-Man and his friends put out the eternal flame in a lie to become king of the Reptons. After being secretly freed from arrest from the resident court jester, He-Man sees that the flame has been put out due to an ice crystal Cobra Khan used to smother the flame, but has accidentally put it out permanently. He-Man then uses a large stalactite and himself to drill down to a layer of molten rock, digging to the center of the earth in seconds by spinning his body super fast. The eternal flame is restored. Number 7. Throwing Castle Grayskull. In Season 1, Episode 30, The Taking of Grayskull, Skeletor uses a white hole, not a black hole, a white hole, to transport Grayskull into another dimension. After finally locating the castle, He-Man subdues Skeletor and needs to find a way to get Grayskull through the floating white hole back to Eternia. Well, pick it up and throw it, of course, duh! He-Man, with the help of some extra pep from the sorceress, does so, and even grappling hooks a ride back on Castle Grayskull through the portal. Where he got a grappling hook and 100 feet of rope from that loincloth is the bigger mystery. Number 8. Pushing the moon twice. In Season 2, Episode 26, Jacob and the Widgets, that's Jacob, those are the Widgets, Merman requires a special metal called Corrodite, which is mined by the Widgets, in order to make his sea monster robots more durable. Instead of hiring a third party to buy the Corrodite secretly from the Widgets, Merman digs a hole beneath the sea to the Widgets' mine, causing it to flood. He-Man stops Merman, but the mine is still flooding. He-Man then realizes that the moon controls the tide and gets the brilliant idea to fly to the moon and push it away to lower the tide. After this completely selfish and destructive act of physically changing the tides of Eternia, no doubt causing complete devastation and tsunamis all along the coast, He-Man flies back to the surface, plugs the hole, flies back to the moon, and pushes it back to its proper orbit. Millions of Eternians are no doubt dead or drowned, but hey, the Widgets have their mind back! Yay! Number 9. Moving the moon with a bomb. In Season 1, Episode 46, Eternal Darkness, He-Man must outsmart the evil, Snuggie-wearing villain Darkdream, who has moved the moon in front of the sun to create an eclipse, which is heading straight for Eternia. To move the moon back, He-Man picks up a giant rock, fills it with some fancy explosive chemical, and chucks it at the moon.
There's enough nodroxin in that urn to blow this entire planet to bits.
Disregarding mathematics, physics, and chemistry altogether, the rock conveniently explodes and the moon is moved back to its proper orbit. How that explosive rock that possessed enough explosive power to destroy Eternia didn't destroy the moon beats me. I would have loved to have He-Man as my physics professor. So I hope you all enjoyed this list of insane things He-Man has done, and if you have any more to add, leave them in the comments down below. So please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I come with new videos every week. Come check me out on social media and help support the channel on Patreon. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay legendary.